Hey everybody, we're back from Gingerman where the weather was but terrible. However, I gotta say, but terrible, it was raining, it was slick, it was freezing cold. It was, for us, fantastic, because that means nobody's going fast, nobody crashed, there were almost no black flags, everybody was going about 24 miles an hour around the track, which is exactly what we want them to do. So, cheers to that.
And we had a bunch of great cars as well. There's the usual collection of bad GM Saturns and Grand
It is the
Ams.
Midwest,
yeah.
after all, yeah.
But there was also a really good battle between these luxury cruisers. There was a 7 Series, there was a Jag XJS, there was a Chrysler Imperial, and there was the Save the Tatas Cadillac Seville, which of course is a Camaro with a Seville suit on.
Now, we had a couple of fantastic new penalties. We had the Judge Phil hipster film camera penalty, which is Phil's got some, I think it's from 1920.
Yeah.
He's got some old giant brownie style camera that uses about a 4x4 glass plate, I think. It takes 20 minutes for him to set up a shot with this thing. The penalty was you had to look very hipster. He would take a picture and then I think he'd develop it with like egg whites in an old tent or something like that. And we also had the change the oil in Eric's station wagon penalty.
Yeah. Oh,
Eric
man.
bought this, I think it's a 90 Cutlass Sierra Supreme
a
wagon.
A Lemons Rally veteran.
A Lemons Rally veteran.
He saw it on the Lemons Rally, he's like, I gotta have it.
And I think he got it for about $200. I think the oil has never been changed. So the penalty was, you gotta change the oil, which on this car involves removing the entire right-hand front wheel because General Motors.
We also had the Acura Integra from Team You're Doing It Wrong, who spent all of their preparation on a duct tape paint job, which was
unbelievably
and
cool.
it wasn't paint at all. It was entirely duct tape.
Yeah.
And polished alloy wheels that I think were done with rattle cans.
Cans on the rubber and the wheels. Yeah.
And their results, which were awful, speaks to the priority of putting duct tape and rattle cans above actual car prep.
We had a great 2-car Teenage Mutant Ninja theme. There's a Teenage Mutant Ninja wave kind of taking Lemons right now.
I'm not mad at that.
No, it's good.
We also had Pro Nerd Racing, which is a bunch of Toyota engineers, which is something that shows up in the Midwest.
All the time.
Well, it's because maybe Toyota is bringing the American auto industry back on its feet again. Anyway, they had a Celica, and they had the prototype nose from the next generation Toyota Sienna minivan, totally secret.
Yeah.
And they bolted that nose right to the front of the Celica. I'm sure that's going to be in all of the Motor Trend spy shots in the upcoming months.
Yeah, somebody's career-ending decision was made at Gingerman. I mean, besides ours. Well, under the But Terrible banner was the pumpkin spice Jello made with Natty Daddy Natural malt liquor instead of boiled water.
That's right.
It was every bit as disgusting as you would think, and yet, being Lemon's crowd, somebody ate it.
The special award was the Seriously WTF award.
Which is a good award.
Yeah, and it went to the petrosexuals who were known last year. They gained some notoriety by bribing the judges with a plastic shopping bag full of loose SpaghettiOs. Well, this year they brought an entire thrift store briefcase full of loose SpaghettiOs, and so they were awarded the special trophy as well as the Natty Daddy Jello.
The heroic fix went to Dirty Mike and the boys. This is kind of the classic age-old tale. They found a really janky 350 automatic transmission converted RX-7.
Right.
That never worked.
No.
It didn't work.
No.
It exploded parts all over the place. They said all small blocks are the same.
Yeah,
they went
sure
and
are.
got some crusty 305, and they spent the next 72 hours trying to take every single little piece that didn't interchange and digging it out of the mud that was their pit space, putting it in the car. They did get it running. They got back on the track 10 minutes before the flag, which seems to always be when these teams get back on. But they made it, so there you go. Well done, guys.
Now, the Opel GT is a sports car that...
Fine automobile.
Yeah, and it's one of those cars that's sort of an obvious choice for Lemons. It looks cool, it's weird, and it's generally pretty crappy. And no one knows that better than our friend Mike Meyer, the captain of Team Tiny Vet, which of course is the team that has campaigned in Opel GT in California for years, and they have spent tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars and hours.
This is, and I'm not making this up, this I think is the most developed Opel GT race car in the world.
I think that's absolutely
and it's
right.
in lemon, and it doesn't win.
You're right. Well, it runs about 60% of the time.
Yeah.
Now, these guys at Gingerman, they Monkey Paw Racing, they brought an Opel GT that has 0.1% of the effort and time and money spent.
I think
on the
they
tiny
might
bit.
have vacuumed out the interior.
Right. And their performance was, they ran about 50% of the time.
Right.
So only 10% works for 1% of the effort.
Yeah.
Well done, judge's choice.
I Got Screwed trophy went to Shift Heads. Now, these guys, last year they brought this car. It's a Pontiac, I don't know, GTP Grand Prix. They're all the same. All these horrible V6 front drive General Motors. They're all equally terrible. They brought this thing. It had literally 900 treadwear tires on it. It was sliding all over the place. They got really fancy. They got 600 treadwear this time. Amazingly, that put them into the lead of Class C, and they were dominating. Ultimately, they got taken out by a more experienced racer in a superior racing machine who just clang bent the spindle, and they were done. But up until then, they were enjoying the sound of power.
Yeah, and we've mentioned this before. Our good friend Pete Stout, Porsche aficionado, editor of many Porsche publications, his real legacy isn't all of that Porsche crap.
No, nothing to do with that.
It's his recognition that all General Motors cars from about 1976 to about now emit the same monotone drone, whether Quad 4, Iron Duke, 3800, 60-degree V6, 90-degree V6, they all sound the same. And it's one note, and it's And when we go to Gingerman, there's a lot of these cars running. And so it's like literally the Grand Prix of Grand Prix. And instead of sounding like this, it sounds like this. Org choice this year was really a one-year deferred org choice. Yeah, and it went to a quart low and their Calvin and Hobbes Radio Flyer wagon.
So awesome.
Which is actually a Honda Del Sol, and it's super awesome. And at their last Gingerman event, I got screwed because they would have won org choice, but there was so much other awesome stuff that they were the odd man out.
Yeah.
So they were probably going to win this year anyway.
Yeah. But they decided they were going to kick it up the proverbial notch. They added an aftermarket turbo, and by aftermarket I mean, you know, it was like in the junkyard. It was that far after the market.
Right.
There was about 25 feet of plumbing leading to the turbo and about 30 feet leading back to the engine. And the driver was saying you'd step on the gas, and the lag was so long you were on the next lap before you started to get boost. So it was almost undrivable, but it was so awesome. The car is so fun to look at. This was a well-deserved org choice. I'm really glad they got it.
The index of effluency went to Burnt Rubber Soul in their 81 Chrysler Imperial.
They're awesome 81 Chrysler
Super
Imperial.
awesome. Now, Gingerman has become kind of a hotbed of these sort of Malaise-era big Chrysler luxury cars.
Right.
There was a Murata, there was a Cordoba, and now you've got this Imperial, which I'm sure is a Murata / Cordoba
related in some unholy way, but we don't have the slightest idea what the
clue.
relationship is. Yeah. Now, the thing is, that wasn't enough for these guys. They inexplicably did a brilliant paint replica of the 81 Fox Body Mustang Indy pace car.
Yeah.
I don't know how they came to that conclusion, but it looked fantastic. And the fact that it's about 14 feet longer than the Mustang just makes it doubly awesome. So, well, we don't exactly know what went into this. We approve of everything happening here, IOE.
That's it. Here's Lemons in a nutshell.
There's that rushing of air part of it also, where there's like a whole secondary system that's just a fan pushing air, so it's oof, oof, whoosh.